The story of Ruth. Character in the story. Ruth, a Moabite princess of a very fine character who became a great-grandmother of King David. She was dissatisfied with the idol worship of her own people, and when the opportunity arose, she gladly gave up the privilege of royalty in her land and accepted among people she admired, a loyalist and a widow daughter-in-law of Noemi. Noemi, wife of Elimelech, mother of Mahlon and Chilion, mother-in-law of Ruth. Elimelech, man in a Judah, wealthy man, merchant who was not used to hunger and poverty, husband of Noemi, father of Mahlon and Chilion. Boaz, a wealthy landowner of the field, attracted to Ruth and became her husband. Mahlon and Chilion, son of Elimelech and Noemi. Themes in the story. Boaz, loyalty as husband to the Ruth. Loyalty of Ruth to Noemi and God's loyalty as he take care of Noemi. Brings Ruth and Boaz together and gives them a special plan. Honoring God. Noemi gives all his trust to God when she back to Bethlehem. Boaz's first recorded word is scripture. The Lord be with you. He was a godly man who was concerned about obeying God. He set forth as example of someone who follows the Torah. Because he honored God, he blessed his employees, he took care poor and dealt his business matters ethically and wisely. God is at the word behind the scene. The story begins with several trials, among them famine, death, and poverty. As the story develops it becomes apparent that God is at work to bring people together to bless them and carry on His plan. Acceptance. Noemi accepts the truth that she will never accompany her husband and son anymore, and she is ready for being alone. Summary of the story. Ruth was a Moabite princess of a very fine character who became the great-grandmother of King David. She was dissatisfied with the idol worship of her own people, and when the opportunity arose, she gladly gave up the privilege of loyalty in her land and accepted a life of poverty among people she admired. There was a certain man in Judah named Elimelech. He was a wealthy merchant who was not used to hunger and poverty, and so he thought he could escape from the misery by moving elsewhere. Ruth became friendly with this Jewish family. She learned to admire their clothes and costumes. The dissatisfaction which she had already felt at the meaningless idol worship of her own people now turned to positive objection. And so, when one of the sons asked her to marry him, she was happy and proud to accept. She did not feel any pangs of regret at what she was giving. In her life of luxury at the palace, her royal life, her prospect of wealth and honor. Elimelech and his two sons died, and Noemi was left, a poor widow not knowing what to do or whither to turn. She therefore said to Ruth and to her other daughter-in-law Orpah, also Moabite, "My daughter, I must go away, and I have decided to return to my hometown to Bethlehem. Things cannot be good there, and there is no reason why you should do. Take my advice, therefore, and back to your parents' home." Orpah looked sad, kissed her mother-in-law, and bade her goodbye. But Ruth clung tearfully to Noemi and begged her to allow her to go with her. With these touching words she implored her, saying, "Entreat me not to leave thee, and to run from following after thee. For whither thou goest I will go, and where thou lodgest I will lodge. My people shall be my people, and thy God, where thou diest, will die. And there will be I buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if I ought but death part thee and me." It was harvest time as Ruth and Noemi came to the land of Judah. They were both worn out from their journey, and Ruth prevailed upon Noemi to rest while she would go out into the fields of Bethlehem and see what should find. Ruth entered a field where many men were busy cutting barley. Others were binding it into sheaves, while others were peeling them onto wagons and carting them away. Suddenly, she was startled to hear a voice saying to her kindly and gently, "Bewitch, stranger, come along into the field. Do not be bashful, gather some ears of corn and satisfy your hunger." It was Boaz himself, the owner of the field, who thus addressed Ruth. Ruth thanked him and plucked some ears of grain. She then was going to depart when the same kind voice urged her to stay a while and gather pea. "What is pea?" asked Ruth. Ruth was happy with her good fortune. She had gathered almost more than she could carry. She and Noemi were now well provided for some time. Noemi was happy that Ruth had been so successful and had found favor in the eyes of Boaz, the wealthy landowner. Moral lesson: God is always have a plan to us.